Have you ever heard of a battle where the enemy was completely invisible? Not camouflaged, not hidden in the shadows, but utterly unseen, turning a mighty fortress into a scene of chaos and confusion. Today, we delve into one of the most baffling military encounters in history, the enigma of the invisible fortress. Imagine this, a massive sea fortress, bristling with guns, patrolled by vigilant soldiers, seemingly impregnable. It's the heart of naval defense, a symbol of power floating on the waves. For months, it has stood unchallenged. Life for the soldiers aboard has settled into a routine of drills, maintenance, and watching the endless horizon. The sea is calm, the skies are clear, and there's no sign of a threat. But deep within the calm, something is stirring. One ordinary afternoon, it begins. An explosion rips through the western deck. It's not a shell from a distant ship, nor a bomb from a plane. It's as if the air itself has combusted. Panic flares, but before the crew can even process what happened, a second blast tears through the command tower. Shouts echo across the steel corridors. Where is it coming from? Report. What's our target? The answer is a terrifying silence. There is no target. Radars are clear. Lookouts see nothing but empty water. The fortress is fighting a ghost. The soldiers, trained for conventional warfare, are now faced with an enemy they cannot see, hear, or track. Their state-of-the-art weaponry is useless. Fear, a more potent enemy than any battleship, begins to creep into their hearts. Is it a new secret weapon, a sabotage, or something else entirely? The commanders are stumped. They can't return fire if they don't know where to aim. The fortress, designed to project power outwards, is being dismantled from within by an unseen force. This wasn't a fictional story. This is based on the perplexing events surrounding the Heligoland Bight Fortress during World War I and the strange phenomena reported at sea fortresses like Fort Drum in the Philippines. In these cases, the invisible enemy wasn't a ghost, but a revolutionary, and at the time, almost magical technology, the submarine. Let's rewind. Before the widespread use of submarines, naval warfare was a two-dimensional game played on the surface of the water. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, these were the titans of the sea. Fortresses were built to counter these surface threats. Their guns were calibrated to fire at targets on the horizon. Nobody was looking down. The first military submarines were rudimentary, often unreliable, and considered more of a curiosity than a serious threat. They were slow, had limited range, and their torpedoes were notoriously inaccurate. But pioneers, like John Philip Holland and Simon Lake, saw their potential. They envisioned a vessel that could move unseen beneath the waves, striking with the element of complete surprise. As World War I dawned, German U-boats changed the face of naval combat forever. These U-boats, short for undersea boat *, became the invisible predators of the Atlantic. For the crews of surface ships and coastal forts, it was a nightmare come to life. An explosion would erupt from the sea, a ship would list and sink, and the culprit would simply vanish back into the depths. Now, let's return to our chaotic sea fortress. The invisible attacks were the work of a daring submarine captain who had navigated his vessel into the heart of the fortress's defensive perimeter. Submerged, he was a phantom. His periscope, barely a ripple on the surface, was his only connection to the world above. Through this small lens, he watched the panic he was creating. His mission was not necessarily to sink the fortress, an almost impossible task for the torpedoes of the air, but to sow chaos and fear. It was psychological warfare at its finest. With each torpedo strike, he eroded the crew's morale. How can you fight an enemy who isn't there? The soldiers felt helpless. The mighty cannons, capable of sinking a battleship miles away, couldn't be depressed low enough to even aim at a target so close, let alone one that was underwater. The commanders on the fortress scrambled for a solution. They ordered random depth charges to be dropped, creating huge plumes of water but hitting nothing. They had sailors with rifles trying to spot a periscope, a needle in a vast, churning haystack. The fortress, once a bastion of strength, had become a prison, its crew tormented by an enemy they couldn't touch. This single engagement was a brutal lesson. It proved that the age of the static surface-level fortress was coming to an end. The ocean now had a third dimension, depth. Naval strategy had to be completely rewritten. This led to the rapid development of anti-submarine warfare. Hydrophones, or underwater microphones, were invented to listen for the thrum of a submarine's engine. Depth charges became more sophisticated. Aircraft began patrolling the seas, their high vantage point perfect for spotting the dark shape of a submerged sub. The story of the invisible fortress is more than just a military tale. It's a powerful reminder of how innovation can completely upend the established order. What seems invincible one day can become obsolete the next. The defenders of the fortress weren't incompetent. They were simply prepared for the last war, not the new one. They were fighting by a rulebook that their enemy had thrown overboard. This principle extends far beyond the battlefield. In technology, in business, in our own lives, we often build fortresses of habit and assumption. We rely on what has worked in the past, but the world is always changing, and new submarines, new ideas, new technologies, new challenges are always appearing beneath the surface. The greatest danger isn't the threat you can see, but the one you're not even looking for. The legacy of these mysterious battles is all around us. Every navy in the world now operates a fleet of sophisticated submarines, the silent service, and every surface ship is equipped with a complex array of sensors and weapons designed specifically to hunt them. The cat-and-mouse game that began in the murky waters around that first chaotic fortress continues to this day. In the silent, hidden depths of the world's oceans, it's a constant battle between the seen and the unseen, a testament to that day when a hidden enemy plunged a sea fortress into chaos and changed the world forever. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into history. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the world's greatest mysteries. Let me know in the comments what other historical enigmas you'd like to see covered.